Hello, guys. This is your girl, First Lady Davidson. This is my first video on this. You know, I usually go live, but now I will be doing a combination of videos and lives on my topics. How are you guys? I hope you guys are doing well. This new year, it's January 2025. Big up on yourself. But today I want to address an issue that is as heartbreaking as it is critical: the consequences of enabling behavior within families and the devastating ripple effects it can have on those we are meant to protect. This is not just about one person's choices, it's about the lives affected by those choices and the courage required to confront the truth. Now, guys, we have been busy speaking out against the CMR situation. Let's examine the troubling dynamics between Chrissy and her husband, CMR. This focus will be on the consequences of Chrissy's enabling behavior. Despite allegations of infidelity and a molestation charge involving her 13-year-old daughter, which notably is now dropped, Chrissy seemingly continues to protect CMR. And this is why we're really discussing and getting in depth about enabling and the impacts of enabling. She has been silencing advocates, those who are speaking out in support of her daughter, by deleting comments on her live broadcast. And, well, she's now reintegrating him into her life. I mean, guys, this is her choice, right? After all, that's her husband. That's a part of the enablement that we're going to be speaking about. I don't know if you guys saw her recent YouTube live. I mean, it just happened a couple of hours ago. We actually saw CMR, well, Chrissy, I should say, while she was in the kitchen. She was talking to her audience. She was cleaning up and then she eventually went to do her makeup and all of that. We saw Chrissy being FaceTimed by CMR. Apparently, the children were over by his place. CMR, after he was charged with, alleged molestation of his stepdaughter, he could not be in the same home as her, so he had to eventually find his own place. Well, he has his own little apartment now. We see it in his vlogs and everything. Well, apparently, the smallest little girl, it's her birthday and all of that. Well, she was over by his apartment, so he FaceTimed Chrissy, and Chrissy actually showed the audience. So it showed his name, Cushing Carter, like the call came in from him, and we saw, because she showed it on the live intentionally, right, guys? If you haven't seen it, go over on her YouTube channel and you'll see it right over there. So we saw the little girl, and she was crying and about something that he told her about how she was born. Anyway, guys, this was the first time, right, we the public saw open communication between Chrissy and CMR. Of course, without the usual sneakiness. So remember, guys, the molestation case against him has been dropped. This doesn't mean that it didn't say that he was innocent or guilty, right? It just said it was not suitable for prosecution. And of course, you guys know I already spoke about that on my most recent live about why these cases may be dismissed. We discuss Maybe because there weren't enough evidence, right? You can go back and rewatch my live that I did on New Year's Eve, and you'll get all the information on that. But anyway, so this was the first time we saw them actually speaking, because before they were being sneaky about it. I don't know why. And this is a part of the enablement that we're speaking about. Anyway, that's not all, people. You could also hear, I think, one of his other daughter in the background while his younger daughter, was speaking to him. Anyway, this is not just all, guys. Well, later on in the night, let me see, me recording this video, this was like less than an hour ago. CMR was on his YouTube live now, guys. Yes, so he was at his home, his little apartment. He was cooking dinner for the family. You know, the girls were over there. We actually heard his 3 biological daughters' voices in the background, and we saw the little one, the baby one, and one of the other one passing by. But we never saw or heard, well, I didn't see or heard, his stepdaughters, you know, the oldest daughter, the one that, you know, went to school and informed school that he had touched her inappropriately. Didn't see her or heard her on the live. But guess what, guys? So he was showcasing his little cooking skills. You know, he's not really good in the kitchen, but I guess he was trying. Trying to show us some other side of him. Try to soften his image. But guys, after a while, guess who appeared? Remember, he's had his apartment. None other than his wife, Crissy. Yes, she appeared in camera shot and camera view and all, helping him in the kitchen. You could hear her talking to him in the background, and she even actually went past the camera behind him, so we all saw her in clear view. Oh, wow. This molestation case, you know, as I said, it was dismissed as not suitable for prosecution. Can you imagine the impact this has left on the stepdaughter? Her feeling isolated and potentially ostracized, raising critical questions about loyalty, accountability, and the long-term effects on the family. This narrative highlights how enabling, so we're going back to the enabling, guys, how enabling can perpetuate harm, erode trust, and silence those that are vulnerable, guys, emphasizing the urgent need for boundaries and prioritizing the well-being of all involved. Let's talk about the role of enablers, guys, because we hear this term being thrown around, and I just want you guys to have a clear understanding of enabling and the behaviors of enablers and the consequences of enabling. An enabler often, guys, they unintentionally support harmful behaviors by excusing. We have seen that also often in their case. So they, by excusing, justifying, or ignoring these behaviors. Chrissy's actions, you know, this is specifically what we're looking at, this case of an enablement. Chrissy's actions of standing by her husband despite credible allegations of infidelity. I mean, we don't even have to relive last year's big scandal of when CMR cheated on Crissy with the 2 younger girls, and she was very upset about it initially. She came out and she was upset, and she said she wasn't covering from him, but then she made a 180 changed her mind, and she was even going off on the viewers and supported her husband and saying that, yes, I'm not leaving my man, and all of that. A sign of enablement. So again, her standing by him despite credible allegations of infidelity, inappropriate behavior, yes. And most alarmingly, guys, the charge that we have been speaking about of molestation against her own 13-year-old daughter. Again, remember, guys, this charge has been dropped. This illustrates how enabling can perpetuate harm. Let's examine examples of enabling behaviors. So again, sometimes the enabler, often unintentionally, supports these harmful behaviors, right, by excusing or justifying or ignoring them. All right. So enablers normally cover up mistake for someone repeatedly. So guess what? This person here, that is in this case CMR, they never learn from their failure. Enablers sometimes provide resources without requiring effort or responsibility in return. We have seen that. Enablers oftentimes ignore red flags or harmful behaviors to keep the peace. So again, we are examining the consequences of enabling and why it's not good to enable. So let's talk about common causes of misguided help. Maybe, guys, in her case, there's a fear of conflict. By avoiding difficult conversation, it can lead to enabling harmful behavior. There's this desire to protect. You have seen her come out. She has protected him, during when the cheating scandal. We can say that to us, to the public, it seems as if she protected him throughout this molestation charge. She never once spoke about it openly. She was still filming the children, even her daughter, the accuser, as if nothing happened. He also continued doing his lives and putting out his videos, being on social media, as if nothing happened. So her silence seemed to us as her enabling him, enabling his behavior, accepting his behavior, protecting him in a way. And to show what we can see or deem as enabling behavior, she got upset at anyone who was in her comment section speaking out for her daughter at that time when they were saying justice for her and putting up the purple heart. Crissy got upset. She would have her moderators on her live delete those comments. She would lash out at anyone. She would lash out at the bloggers who were simply advocating, speaking out on behalf of her own daughter. She said nothing. So this can look to us as some type of enabling behavior. Another common cause of misguided help is misplaced empathy. Viewing oneself as essential for another's success may encourage dependency. So when Crissy goes out there and keep on protecting CMR or covering for him or just being silent, these can be seen as her enabling his behavior and him not taking accountability for his actions. When enabling persists, guys, it creates a cycle where the underlying problems remain unresolved or worsen. So, in the case where last year they had this big scandal where he was involved with cheating with these two young girls, they went to counseling. He stopped eventually, as they shared on their live. She continued with the counseling. He just didn't believe in it, according to her, what she said, or what he said also on his live. When enabling persists, it may cause stalled growth. The individual or system being enabled doesn't develop necessary skills or resilience. Increased dependency, which means over reliance on the enabler, creates a lack of self-sufficiency. But guess what? One thing that really happens is burnout for the enabler, aka Chrissy. Constantly helping at the expense of their well-being can exhaust the enabler. So you see this in her actions when she's doing her weekly vlogs. She's always tired. I mean, she does a lot in the home in terms of the cleaning and all of that, but she's always complaining of being tired. She still goes to therapy, so there's something going on, it seems, with her internally in terms of her happiness. She's always trying to occupy herself by starting to read certain types of books. And, you know, she has her mantra, God is love, which I'm not even going to go into that portion today, but yes. Most importantly, guys, when enabling persists, the problem worsens. Dysfunctional behaviors become normalized or escalate without accountability, i.e., meaning last year we had the cheating, a scandal and embarrassment all over social media with these two young girls. Now this year, you know, late last year, a year later, there's these allegations that we found out because of the public records of the molestation charges brought against him by his own stepdaughter, because she went to school and reported that she was inappropriately touched by him on 3 different occasions. We saw the details in the police report of her statements, and we also saw his statements. Again, the charges were subsequently eventually dropped. But where do they go from here as a family? When does this enabling stop so that CMR can take accountability for his actions? Chrissy is doing more damage than good. Instead of confronting the situation, most of the time it seems that Chrissy excused his behavior by taking him back after infidelity with the young girls, by lashing out at the supporters, right? Dismissing those who defended her daughter. When she had her people delete the comments for anyone that was supporting her daughter, we would think that she would be happy that she was getting the support for her child, but instead she was angry. This misplaced anger. So it almost seems as if he was being more protected, her husband, than her own daughter. So is this enabling? These actions raise urgent question. Is she prioritizing her husband over her child's safety and well-being? What message does this send to her daughter and to others in the family? Let's look at the child's perspective. Let's look at the 13-year-old stepdaughter. Imagine being a 13-year-old, brave enough to report inappropriate behavior, only to see your mother stand by the alleged perpetrator. Again, the case, guys, is now being dismissed. How does she feel? How does she feel now watching her mother with her stepfather? This was a man, right? He was her father figure. He is her father figure since she was a little girl. How is she feeling? Is she feeling isolated and ostracized by the family? Does she feel betrayed, silenced, or even deemed a liar? Does she feel some sort of way that by her reporting these inappropriate behaviors to the school, that she was the cause of that temporary separation of her family? Because remember, guys, CMR had to leave the home. Because remember, when he was out on bond, right, he had to be in separate residences from the child. And this is why he has his own apartment. And since the case has been dropped, you see that he's still not integrated back into the family home. He's still living by his apartment, on his own there. So not because the case has been dismissed, because of lack of evidence, etc. This doesn't mean that he gets to go back to the home right away, because there's a CPS case, Child Protective Services case involved. So it's going to take a while for that to happen. So he's still outside of the home, but now you see them now publicly being together. That is CMR and Chrissy, and with the other 3 girls. Guys, let's look at the broader impact on enabling. Chrissy's enabling behavior is not only damaging her daughter, but also, in some sort of way, her own credibility as a mother. A mother's role is to protect, nurture, and advocate for her children. When that role is compromised, trust erodes. Her enabling behavior also is damaging to the family's stability. The other children are growing up in a household where boundaries and accountability seem absent. And most importantly, her husband's accountability. Without facing real consequences, CMR may continue harmful behaviors, believing there will always be someone to shield him, and that's the problem right there. So it's very dangerous, guys, because these people that may have a problem, and because they've been enabled for so long, they don't take accountability for their actions. They don't go out there and get these serious professional help, because guess what? They know that they will be protected somehow. So in this case of CMR and Chrissy, he knows, it seems, that Chrissy will always back him. She will always protect him. Because after all, they are public figures, and they want to put on a front as the perfect family, right, in social media. So enabling can be very harmful. This is not just a story about one family, guys. It's a cautionary tale about what happens when we ignore the red flags, when loyalty becomes blind, yes, and when fear of change keep us from confronting the truth. Enabling does not create peace. We need to know that it deepens dysfunction. It does not protect. It perpetuates harm. Okay, guys? For Chrissy, for her husband, and most importantly, for her children. This pattern must be broken. So again, this enabling behavior must be broken. So a call to action for Chrissy is, Chrissy, it's never too late to prioritize what truly matters, your children. So I hope you have listened to your daughter, validated her experiences, and provide her with the support and protection that she needs now that the charge against CMR has been dismissed. And to the broader community, guys, to all of us, let's continue to speak up for the voiceless, advocate for justice, and demand accountability. Silence only enables harm to persist. To anyone struggling with similar situations, know that enabling is not love. Did you hear that, guys? Enabling is not love. Love means holding people accountable, setting boundaries, and making choices that prioritize safety and well-being over comfort. So, even though the dynamics of this family may never be the same, Chrissy, CMR, and their children, healing can begin if courage and accountability replace enabling and denial. Let this be a wake-up call, not only just for Chrissy, but for all of us to recognize the cost of enabling and the power of standing up for what is right. So guys, I hope you guys have learned something about enablement and why it is dangerous. This is your girl, First Lady Davidson. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.